All signs point to this as we have a major update on Joseph Woll and when he's going to be making his Leafs debut. So to break that down, as well as discuss Max Pacioretty. He is healthy scratch before tonight's game, and he had some interesting things to say about that decision. So stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, if you're a part of the 70% or so who aren't subscribed to the channel, you're going to want to make sure to hit the subscribe button. This is the place to be for daily Leafs content, as well as Darius' birthday. Everyone comment happy birthday in the comment section. But let's dive right into it, Darius. There's a lot to go over today. There's obviously a big game tonight that you're going to be attending, which will be good. But regarding Joseph Woll, he won't be making his debut tonight, but there are some interesting things regarding this. So we know that yesterday he was on the ice and it looked like he will join the team, and he ultimately did. He practiced in full yesterday, which is a very good sign. But some more information came out from James Myrtle. He said there's a possibility that Joseph Woll could be ready and is targeting Tuesday's game versus Columbus as the game that he is going to make his season debut for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So this is pretty good here. We know that he's been progressing pretty well, and he had his full practice, but it seems like now we have a date to look forward to, which means subsequent moves are going to happen in the form of Dennis Hildeby. But Darius, it's a good sign that it looks like the tandem of Stolarz and Woll are going to be back, even though statistically Anthony Stolarz has been a top 3 goaltender in the league so far to start the year, and I think they're going to ride the hot hand. But that being said, Joseph Woll is going to get an opportunity within the week.
Well, I think the reason that they're targeting Tuesday is because it's the second half of a back-to-back. After tonight, the Leafs play on Monday against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and obviously you want to play Anthony Stolarz at this point because of everything that's happened. He is, I guess, your starter at this point. You want to play him the majority of the game, so it sounds like he's going to get tonight, of course, and then he's going to get Monday as well because he's been playing good. Why would you put Hildeby in at this point? Because obviously you still want that player to develop, and he's going to end up going back down to the Marlies. So it looks like they're targeting Tuesday for Joseph Woll to come back in. He's been progressing well, like you said. He finally started skating. He has a mandatory day off today just to see if he's feeling good. I guess he might be back on the ice tomorrow or Monday, so we'll get another look at him then. But it's a good sign. It's good that he's starting to feel better. He didn't comment. He did comment on a few things, and we'll get to that, but he didn't comment on when the injury took place. So again, there is still a lot of speculation that maybe it happened in the summer, and it's not really an injury. I guess it's just tightness, just something was bothering him. I wouldn't go as far to say injury, but we don't know if it happened during the summer or sometime in the preseason because he didn't play a lot during the preseason. And again, coming into the season, hasn't played yet. So hopefully he's on his way to being fully healthy. And this is just the start for him. And hopefully he can try and win the net back because I'm a big fan of Joseph Woll. I don't want to see Anthony Stolarz, not succeed. I want both Leaf goalies to play well, but I want to see Joseph Woll try and come back and win that starter spot back.
Yeah, it's obviously something to do with his groin. I'm going to call it an injury because he's been out for so long, but
Fair.
it's, yeah, and there's just a lot of things to go over here. A little bit of groin tightness and feeling better now. I'm just focused on coming back and helping this team. So, like you mentioned, it's not an injury in the sense of hopefully it won't linger too much longer. It's tightness in his groin, which is, he missed a lot of time for something that in theory was just tightness. But obviously, there's been a bunch of things bothering him. I think specifically regarding the Leafs this year, because of how well Anthony Stolarz has played, they are not, and they haven't been rushing him back. We know that some insiders came out and said they want to wait till he's 100% healthy before they bring him back, and that seems like what they're going to do. And again, you mentioned it, a back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday against the Lightning and the Blue Jackets. Again, the Blue Jackets are also the easier matchup of the two, and hopefully it gives a bit of again, there's no easy games in the NHL. We saw that on opening night against the Montreal Canadiens, but if there's a game to bring him back, it would be on the second night of a back-to-back with again, they're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets. Hopefully they can keep running here. And again, he officially back at practice with the main group for the first time since the regular season began. And we were both a little bit worried about whether or not, because he had a little bit of a setback a couple weeks ago, but now that he's actually back on the team and practicing with the team, I'm very excited to see what he can do. But ultimately, they have their 1A now, I think, in Anthony Stolarz, and it's his job to lose as the everyday goalie. But again, if Joseph Woll can come out, and I don't know how many games we're all expecting out of Joseph Woll this year, especially if Stolarz is playing well, but maybe 30, 35 would be a number for me. I'm a big Anthony Stolarz fan. I think he is going to be the goalie of not necessarily the future, but the next handful of seasons for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think he might even get another contract after this. I'm not going to go too far in. I think regarding Joseph Woll, it's good to see him back, but I don't expect him to have a huge workload here, especially as they manage, like you mentioned, not an injury, but tightness, which is something that can keep coming back if not handled properly.
Yeah, in the summer, I was thinking that, and we haven't seen it yet, but I think once the Leafs figure out the cap situation moving off of either Liljegren or another player within the next 2 weeks or so, Back in the summer, I thought that they might split the workload, like maybe 30, 35 games each, and then Matt Murray would take them the rest of the way, right? Or he would fill in here and there, because I do think somewhere along the lines, and we've already seen it, the Leafs have to use 3 goalies, but I think as the season goes on, Matt Murray will be the guy to come up and not Hill to be. They want Hill to be. It's just cap circumstances right now, this early in the season, why he's with the team right now. I think they really want him to be with the Marlies and develop. But nonetheless, it's good to see Joseph Woll looking healthy, and I think he's got to come back and play his best and try to at least try and win the net back. I'm not saying he's going to, because Stolarz, and you've been on the train the whole time since the summer, there was potential for him to come in and be the starter. Looks like he's, gotten that spot right now, and he's earned it. He's deserved it. So they're going to continue to roll with him until he falters.
Yeah, and I think that tonight's going to be a huge test for Anthony Stolarz against a very good team. And in theory, it should be a good goaltending battle between Shesterkin and Anthony Stolarz. Let us know in the comments your thoughts are on that. Something else to go over. Pacioretty, healthy scratch ahead of tonight's game. He said, I'm dealing with it the best I can. Just work. I'm at the stage of my career for a reason. Would I rather be playing? Of course, anyone would rather be playing. But at the same time, I know I can help the team even when I'm not playing. And that's a veteran's response there again. Clearly, they don't like the matchup of Max Pacioretty against the New York Rangers. They think that they have a better option. The lines haven't been released yet. They haven't skated. They might not even be skating today. It's a bit of a weird day regarding that on that front. Sorry, but Darius, what are your thoughts on Pacioretty again? This is now the second time in a few games here that he hasn't played. And ultimately, it's a matter of he's older. He hasn't looked great out there. And guys like Bobby McMahon have looked a lot better than Max Pacioretty so far. That being said, it's a pretty big game tonight, so I can see why they went with some of the younger players. But I'm a little bit surprised they didn't go with the veteran ahead of the biggest game of the year so far. Granted, we're only a few games in, but nonetheless.
It is, though. They're playing a very good team, the New York Rangers. This is the test for the Toronto Maple Leafs. How do you match up with some of the best teams in the league? And Pacioretty's not playing. I don't think I'm too worried about this. I'm not going to put too much stock into it, because Berube, and yes, sometimes he has to do coach speak or whatever you want to call it, but he's saying, we have extra guys, we're going to use them. And McMahon has come in and he's played very well after not starting the preseason and the season off well and not getting into the lineup. So can't really take him out now because he helps your team. And I think, when they signed Pacioretty, or the news of him getting a PTO, I can say for myself, and I think most Leaf fans, and maybe even Pacioretty himself, I don't want to speak for him, knew that he wasn't going to play 82 games, right? Even when healthy. So he does look okay. He does have use. He obviously opened the scoring for the Leafs on the season, and he's going to find his way back into the lineup. But I guess Berube at this point in time sees, at the time when we're recording this too, we don't have the lines yet, which is a little bit weird, like you mentioned. But I guess he sees that he wants a lineup without Pacioretty in this game, but maybe he's just resting him. Again, they have a lot of guys right now. Yarncroke's not even back. They're going to have to make a trade soon. So I'm not looking too far into this. I knew that he wasn't going to play 82 games. And as we move further down the season, the roster's probably going to shrink a little bit because they got to move off of a couple guys. So I'm not worried about it. Again, think he has some use, but he's not playing tonight.
Yeah, and also Timothy Liljegren is another one. Again, the lines aren't officially released yet, but Liljegren is out. So it's going to be interesting to see. Again, there's some trade rumors at this point, and he's scratched once again in a big game, and I can't imagine he's too happy about that one. So let us know in the comments your thoughts are on Liljegren, what your thoughts are on Max Pacioretty, and of course, most importantly, Joseph Woll's return being imminent. It's going to be an interesting game tonight. Again, the lines aren't released yet, but we have an idea of what the lines are with Liljegren out and Timmins in, and of course Pacioretty out and Bobby McMahon back in there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all that. Maybe we'll see Pontus Holmberg, but let us know in the comments your thoughts are, and hopefully you're excited for what's going to be a very, very important game for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight.